Hey guys, it's Bethany with the Gypsy Bird Makes podcast, and welcome to episode 12 of the podcast and the first one of 2023. I'm really excited to be here with you again after Vlogmas. It feels like I should be recording everything that I do all day, and I feel like I'm forgetting things when I'm not recording, so that's been fun to adjust to. But yeah, I have a lot of fun things to share with you today. But first, I wanted to introduce myself because there are so many new viewers and so many new subscribers, and I just want to welcome you all and kind of give you a little insight onto who I am. If you didn't gather that from Vlogmas or haven't watched any of the previous podcasts, but I did want to first say thank you to all the returning viewers and for sticking with me for my first year of podcasting. It has been so much fun. I have learned so much and have just enjoyed it so much too, and hopefully have improved since the first one a whole bunch, so we'll see. But for those of you who are new and don't know, I am Bethany. I am the one-woman show behind Gypsy Bird Makes. I am a mom to 3 kids. I have my daughter who's 14 and then my boys who are almost 11 and 12. And I am the wife of a travel nurse. My husband Brian has been a travel nurse since 2014. So that's what? It'll be 9 years this fall. And we have been traveling almost all throughout that 9 years. It's been really, really fun. We love it. We live in a 43-foot fifth wheel that we go assignment to assignment with, which is super exciting. We really love it. It's a really fun, adventurous lifestyle. We have gone coast to coast. We've seen the Gulf. Yeah, we've just really loved it. We are currently just outside of Denver, Colorado, but originally are from Virginia. My hometown is Roanoke, Virginia, and in just a few days, weeks, kind of, we are going to be moving to a new location. So I'll talk about that a little more at the end in life section. But I am a Christian and a follower of Christ, so you will hear me talk about that throughout a little bit. But yeah, that's basically who I am. I love to knit. I love yarn, and I love sharing it with all of you guys. So thank you so much for coming along with us on this journey, and I hope that you learn some things and maybe get some inspiration. I know you guys inspire me all the time with your comments and your information and things like that. So I want to thank you for that. I really appreciate it. And let's see, what else did I have to say? How it works. Okay, so my podcasts are a little different than others, just a tad bit. For the first year, I was doing only monthly podcasts, so on the 5th of every month. But now I have decided to do them every other week, basically. I'm going to be releasing them on the 5th and on the 20th of each month. There was just times where I could not even remember making things that I made in the beginning of the month by the time it came to film the next podcast. So I think that 2 a month is going to be really great. I have different segments that you'll see, like finished objects, works in progress, acquisitions, and those type of things. And something that I do that's kind of different is I put all the information up on the screen for you guys. So you'll see those popping up, and hopefully that gives you a little time to jot something down or make a note or something like that about the project. And you will notice, if you've been around for a while, I have some new graphics, some new music. I've been working on that this past week or two, and I'm really excited about it. So I hope you guys like the new kind of branding that is Gypsy Bird Makes right now. And I've had some comments, some not friendly comments about my name, so I just kind of wanted to put it out there about what it means. So Gypsy Bird, Gypsy is kind of what our lifestyle is. If you look that up in the dictionary, it's basically someone who roams around from place to place, and that's basically what we do. And I think of it as a word of endearment. I really love it. And then bird is in Britain, which I love, everything British, means girl. So it is basically the wandering girl makes, is what my name means. So I just thought I would kind of introduce it that way. I don't think I've ever explained it before, so I wanted to do that for you guys. I do have a giveaway winner to announce. I'm going to do that in the live section, so if you'll stick around to the end, you can find out who that is. And I also have another giveaway to give for you guys. I'm really excited about it. So with all of that admin stuff out of the way, let's get to the finished objects. I have 5 finished objects to chat about today, but unfortunately I only have 2 with me to show you because the other ones were gifts and they've already been gifted since it was the holiday season. So I'll have the photos of those up on the screen for you as I chat about them, but it's just how life goes sometimes. So the first one that I finished was some DK socks for my mom. I made these because I knew she would love them. She is a footy wearer. She has worn many knitted socks that I have made for her. And sorry, I'm gonna have to take this out. I was trying to keep my hair up, but it's not working, so we're just gonna put that down. I've made her lots of footy socks before, and she's really loved them. And I've been wanting to try the DK version of shorty socks, so I went ahead and did that in December. The pattern I used was the 4-Hour Sock by Lauren Slagle. Great pattern. I loved it. I will make it again. I used a US 3, which is a 3.25 millimeter needle. The yarn I had in stash, I'd had that in stash for I think over a year. Yeah, it had to have been over a year. It was Little Fox yarn in mini Purl. I purchased that at the Yarn Club in Norfolk, Virginia, so I definitely had it for over a year, probably about a year and a half. I ended up using 62 grams total, which is way less than what the pattern suggested that you have, because I was worried I wasn't going to have enough yarn, but I had more than enough, and I'll probably use it with some other DK scraps to make myself a pair in the future too. My kids are in the back, so you can probably hear them laughing, which is better than bickering, so I'll take it. But that was the first finished object of December. As most of you know, December is Advent knitting, and I did a whole bunch of that, but I kind of sprinkled a few other projects in with that. So the second one that I finished was also a gift. This was a gift for my dad, and these were the ribbed socks for Dad. I did not use a pattern for these. I basically did a knit 3, purl 1 throughout the leg and then on the top of the foot. I did a 1x1 rib at the top because I thought that would look best with the pattern with the pattern. We'll just go with that. With the pattern. And I did a hill flap and gusset. I just did the slip stitch hill flap and gusset. Using a US 1 2.25 millimeter. I got this yarn specifically to make my dad some socks because I knew I wanted to make him some for Christmas, and I thought this yarn would do well. And it was also Christmas themed yarn, so I knew that that would get me an extra point during Knitty Natty's Sockmas. So those were the second ones I made. I ended up using 78 grams for those, so I still have a little left over, which is nice. This was the second pair that I finished for Sockmas. I finished them right like the very, very early hours of the morning of the end of Sockmas. So I did finish those in time, which was nice. That was my goal, and I was like bound and determined that I was going to finish those. And you can see me go through that in Vlogmas if you want to go back and watch those, or if you did, you will have already seen those. So this was the first time, I want to say it's the first time I did a ribbed sock, but that's not necessarily true because my Wisteria Bloom socks were also ribbed. But I really liked the ribbing. I like how that is. I want to make probably my husband and myself a pair of all ribbed socks and just see how we like those. Probably my daughter too because she loves socks. But yeah, I think it's pretty good. I like it. So I gifted those to my dad, and he seemed to like them for Christmas, so I'm pleased with that. Those two items were the ones that I finished during Advent making season. So then I had two other Advent yarns. Oh, and I just realized, before I move on to the Advents, let me show you, this was what the yarn for my dad was called. It was by Earth and Empress. Fibers, which is on Etsy and will be linked down below. I meant to mention at the beginning, but everything will be linked down below by segment, so you'll be able to easily find something, and if I by chance miss something and you're looking for that, just let me know and I'll be happy to find that link for you. But this was for my dad, and it was Gingerbread House on their classic sock, which I really like. This was my first time using their yarn. But yeah, I really liked it, so I'll probably be purchasing from them again. So now we can move on to Advents. Okay, so for my Advent season, I decided on two different projects. The first one was the Cozy Knitter Advent socks. I did these in 2021 as well, and then me and my friend Stephanie split the skein in 2022 and decided to make them together. So that's what we did. There was only one day that I got behind, so I did really, really well, and I was really happy with that. I just did a vanilla pattern and then the Fish Lips Kiss heel for that, and I used a US 1 2.25 millimeter. Hold on, let me look up on my computer because I didn't do as many stitches this year, which was not the best idea. So let's see if I can get it to come up. These ended up being taller in the leg than I thought they would be, and they were really, really tight on my calf, like almost uncomfortable. Like I would have had to wear them as slouchy socks, so I decided to give them to my daughter because they fit her perfectly. And I cast on 60 stitches instead of 64. I don't know if I'd done the 64, if that would have made that big of a difference. It might have. But it worked out because she loves the socks, so it works just fine. But the yarn that I used, I was a little different and didn't use like a white or a black for the cuff, heel, and toe. Instead, I used this pretty color by Earth and Empress again, and it was called Christmas. Oh, come on. Let's see if we get it. Christmas on the Farm. There we go. And yeah, I really liked how they ended up turning out. I liked using that different kind of yarn. I like to be a little different. And then this is the Cozy Knitter tag that she had. Stephanie was so sweet and sent that with the skein so that I could show it off to you guys. So yeah, I started them on the 1st and I finished on the 24th and washed and blocked them overnight on Christmas Eve and then gave them to my daughter on Christmas. So that worked out really well. I probably won't be getting the Cozy Knitter one Advent again. I feel like the colors are always very similar. They're always kind of the same, at least from the last few years. And now that I've done 2 years of them, I think I'm good. So there's one by, I think it's Freckled Whimsy, that I saw other Vlogmasers making, and they were so pretty and more of like a jewel tone colors, which are kind of more my jam than the bright ones. So I'm thinking maybe next year I will try that one out. Yeah, because I really liked those colors. There were some deep purples, and it was just really, really pretty. So I think next year I want to try that route, and we'll see how I like them. And then the second Advent project that I did was called the Shortest Day Shawl by Christina Gordon. And this shawl is absolutely beautiful, and I have it here to show you. If I can find it. Where did I put it? Oh, right here it is. So this shawl I made with my Blush Yarns Advent. I had major FOMO in 2021 when I saw all my friends opening Natalie's Advent, and this year I wasn't going to let that happen. So I got her Advent way back in like March of 2022. And this is what it looks like. I love it so much. So I'm going to pop in some photos for you of me modeling this. But I love this so much. It was such a fun make. It was really simple, which was something that I needed during that Advent season. Editing the Vlogmases took a lot longer than I anticipated and a lot of my knitting time. So I got quite a bit behind on this because I wasn't able to work on it as much as I would in a typical month. But I was really lucky and figured out on, I think, Christmas Eve, I think is when I figured it out, that I didn't need to do 24 stripes. I only needed to do 20, which meant that I was right on track to finish on Christmas Day, which is what I did. I finished it Christmas Day. I steeked it, which was really fun. This was knit in the round, and then you just steek it. And the way that the pattern is written is you don't have to weave in any ends because it becomes these tassels, and it just worked really well. So I'm really, really happy with this. I love it so much. And it was a really fun make. So if you're looking for a really simple Advent project, this one is really, really awesome. Really simple, really easy. The hardest part is casting on all of the stitches on the first day. That's the hardest part. This does come in 2 different sizes, and I made the smaller size just in case you're looking at the pattern. So I loved making it. The sticking was really interesting on how it didn't unravel farther than a certain stitch. But yeah, I really loved it. I ended up using a US 4, which is a 3.5 millimeter needle, and yeah, I love it. And I have a little scraps left over from each of the minis, and I'm thinking about making a scrappy pair of socks with it. So yeah, that might be a future make. We'll see. Then since the new year, and since you guys have seen me in Vlogmas, I have finished one other project. I've actually started and finished it, and I am so excited because I've wanted these all month long and could have used them quite a few times. So last month, if you watched the December podcast, you will have seen that I made my daughter some fingerless mitts, and now I have some too. So these are just a Everything November mitts by Jen Yard, and they are great. I love them so much. I just finished them yesterday, so they are very new, very freshly blocked. This is actually the first time I've put them fully on. But yeah, I love how these turned out. So I did make a few alterations to mine. When my husband and I went out for our date during December, I took Felicity's gloves and wore them, and I was like, they're a little loose. I was like, they're a little too loose for my hands. So when I cast these on, I decided to do 52 stitches instead of what the pattern calls for. I think the pattern calls for 56 stitches. So I just took one of the ribbing sections out. This is, I believe it's a paid for pattern. Let me double check because I don't want to talk about it too much if it isn't a paid for pattern. Yes, it is a paid for pattern, but it's really worth it. I love it. So the other things that I did differently, I added a little more length to the arm. I think it's only 2 inches called for before you split for the thumb gusset, and I wanted it a bit longer. So I ended up knitting even longer than what I did for my daughters. I did 60 stitches on the arm, and then I also did a bit longer on the hand. I did 25 rounds for that. Did I say stitches for this? It was rounds, 60 rounds for that. And the thumb I also did differently. In the thumb, she has you do a like a ribbing up at the top for this, and I just did stockinette, and I did 13 rounds of stockinette on the thumb. So those were what I did differently. I used a US 1 2.25 millimeter, and I used this gorgeous yarn. I should have, trying to see if I have the, I know I have the tag somewhere. I can't find the tag, but it's by 29 Bridges Studios, which I purchased at the Black Mountain Yarn Shop in North Carolina back in October when I went to SAF, and I absolutely love the yarn. It is just so pretty, and I'm so glad I got it. So these were finished just yesterday, my first finished object of 2023. They're all for me, and I'm really excited to wear them. I just have a handful of works in progress to share with you guys today. The first one I started on Christmas Day. So if you saw Christmas Day Vlogmas, you will have seen this getting started. But it is my Scrappy Musselburgh hat, and the Musselburgh is by Isolde Teague. It is super popular right now, so you've probably heard about it. You've probably made one. I've made several. I think I've made like, I don't know, 5 or so probably, but I'm using a US 3 for this hat, and yeah, I'm gonna just get into it. So what I'm doing is I did a swap in our Love and Stitches membership, which is through Knitty Natty. It'll be linked down below. It'll actually be open for new members the day this goes up. So if you're interested, head over there and check it out. We have so much fun over there, and it's so much fun. We love it. But for December, we did a member advent swap. So we each gathered 10 or 20 grams of 12 or 24, 25 days, and swapped them with another member for everybody to open. And I had a great swap partner, Summer, and she sent me some absolutely beautiful skeins of yarn that's in there. You can see these are just some of them, not all of them, but yeah, I decided I wanted to make something with it. So I decided I was going to make a Scrappy Musselburgh. So this is what I have so far. You can see you just start at the top right there, and then I'm doing 8 rounds of each color. And I think it's going to be so cool and so funky. I'm really excited about it. This little stitch marker is from, oh man, Whimsy and Sassy, I believe. My friend Jill gave it to me. And I am using that stitch marker right there. Come on, focus. That is going to be where I started my 30 for 30. So also with Knitty Natty and in our Love and Stitches membership, we are doing 30 days and 30 minutes on a project. So how that works is for 30 days, you're going to spend 30 minutes on a particular project and see how far that you can get. So I started that yesterday with this purple color. So I'm going to see how far I can get in 30 days. So for next month's podcast, so not the next one, but the one after that, I should have a finished hat. Yeah, I'll definitely have a finished hat by then. But it should be all nice and scrappy and fun. And I'm kind of just going through and picking a color that I think would look best next, and going with that. And these yarns are all by the Row One subscription, and that's so fun. But most of the ones that I got, this one is Superfine Yarn Co. You can see there. And then the other dyer is Big Sky Yarn Co. And I just picked all of these ones out of the 25 that she sent and decided that they would be great to use in the Scrappy one. And each, I'm not sure how many grams. I'll try to measure and put on the screen for you how many grams each 8 rounds takes, but it's not taking all of the 10 grams. I'd say it's probably not even 5, but this is one that I just did, and I have plenty left, so I'll probably be using them multiple times in the hat. But yeah, that is my work on 30 minutes a day project for right now. And I'm really liking it. It's really fun. And it's fun to participate with others and see what other people are making, and how much progress they're getting. I'm getting about a stripe or a little bit more per 30 minutes, which is not bad. And I am making, I don't know if I said, I am making the adult medium, and I ended up having 7 stitches per inch, which in the pattern then it tells you how much you need to knit for and how much you need to increase. So yeah, it's working out really well. The next thing that I am working on, I actually just cast on today, and it is the Corgi Sweater, and this is by Rose Marini. I'm not sure exactly. I'm probably butchering that. But so I did the swatch for it last night, and it was kind of a disaster of a swatch because the pattern itself is going to be in the round. So I wanted to do one of the Corgi color work sections just to kind of see what it was going to look like and how it was going to go. But I was like doing the pattern, the way of doing the swatch where you do it fake in the round. I'll link my friend Natalie's tutorial for that. It's really great. You use a whole lot of less yarn, but it kind of pulled on Mr. Corgi a little bit. It pulled on his head, and then when I went to cut it, I kind of cut some of it so there's holes. So I didn't do the best of job, but I did get a good stocking net up here, so I was able to kind of get my gauge. So it worked out. It's a little rough around the edges, but I'm hoping that the real sweater will not be rough around the edges since I'll be going in the round and not trying to finagle it different ways. But the yarn that I am using for this is just some Knit Picks yarn. So let me see if I can grab one that hasn't been destroyed. Okay, so it's Swish DK. And this is just from Knit Picks. It is, I'm using the black for the main color. Then for the Corgi head, I'm using Allspice. Then the white, I think it's just a plain white. Yes, it's just a white. And then I have a pink, which is this pink. And let's see if I have the, I don't, oh, here it is, the tag. Yes, this is Blossom Heather for the pink. So I did start this today, and I have not gotten very far, but this is what I have so far. So I have the collar done, and then I have started on just the top yoke. So it is ready for the first bit of color work that's going to go on here. But I was doing it really late this morning, really early this morning. And I was watching TV with my husband, and I was like, I just cannot do that right now. So I did my 30 for 30 at like 2 in the morning instead. But I need to look up a tutorial on how to catch the floats. I've never done that before in a pattern where you catch the floats, and it is suggested that you do that with this pattern, and I want to try to make this as nice as possible. So I need to do that before I go any further. So it'll probably be tomorrow or so before I get to work on this anymore, but it is started and on the needles, and that is half the battle. So I'm excited to get working on that. We are moving in a few weeks, and I would really like to have this as my car knitting. I'd like to be able to work on the body and just go round and round and work on that in the car. I think that would be really great, and work on those sleeves. So that is what I am hoping to have. I want to have the yoke part of it done by the time that we move. Let's see. I'm trying to, as I say that, I want to take the color work slow because I don't want to rush it. I want it to look good. I want the floats to be good. I really would like to get better at color work this year, and I think that this would be a good start for that. So I'm going to try to work and not rush through it and get it done. So if I don't get to the point where I can use it on the trip, that's okay. I'll have something else to work on, but that would be the goal, is to be able to use it. Looking through the pattern, it's a little vague. The pattern is kind of like 2 pages long and not a whole bunch of information. So it's a little confusing for me. I think I have a hard time understanding patterns anyways, or instructions. So a whole bunch of detail is really great for me. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to kind of read it a few times before I go through it. But otherwise, I'm really excited for it. I think it's going to be really cool, and I think my daughter's going to really love it because obviously it is for her. And when I did my little swatchy swatch that is a disaster, I figured out that I actually needed to go up a size in needles. So the pattern calls for a US 4 for like the body and everything, but I'm going to use a US 5, which is a 3.75 millimeter. And for the ribbing, I'm going to be using the US 4, which it called for, I think, a US 3 for that. So I just had to go up a little bit. I am glad that I did the swatch, but it is disastrous. Not the prettiest. That's okay. And then let me do this real fast. So these bags that I am using, I'm using it for both this project, Corgi, and my Scrappy Musselburgh, are both by Cottontail Farms. I'm a little bit obsessed with her at the moment, so you can see her tag right there. These bags are absolutely amazing. I gifted my friends these for Christmas, and yeah, I'm just loving it. So this is my new one. This is actually the first time I'm using it, and it's housing some of the yarn. I still have more somewhere else for that. So I'm really enjoying it. And what I really love about these is that they have these little D-clips, and then you can get a leather strap and wear it out. And I did that all through December with this bag, the one I got at SAF. And I just wore it everywhere. I took my projects with me everywhere, and I had them, and it was like my purse. It was the best. I absolutely loved it. So those are who those bags are from, and I'm absolutely loving them. And then also my next project is in one of those bags too. This is called, I think, a pocket cup yarn pocket maybe. Yeah, if I'm wrong, I'll put the real name on the screen, but I think it's the yarn pocket. And this is housing my other project. There we go. You can see the yarn, which should look familiar because this is the same yarn. Oh, sorry, I kicked you. This is the same yarn that I made. I'm losing everything today. I made my gloves in. So I want to make a headband for myself. Because if I go out, it's been very cold here in Colorado. If I go out and my hair is up, I don't want to have to take it down and put a hat on. So it was like a headband would be great. And I found this one headband. I think actually a friend sent it to me. And it is, let me open up my notes. It is the Aurora Headband by Megan Nodecker, who is also Pippin Pen. And it doesn't need too much yarn. I think it needs less than 50 grams, and I have like 70 some grams left. So I'm like, this is perfect. I can have a matching headband to go with my gloves. So this afternoon, while I was catching up on some Vlogmases, I made the tiniest of tiny little swatches, and I swatched for this and counted my stitches just before filming this and found out that I am all set to make it. I am actually using a US 3 needle, which is, I didn't write that down. Do I have it written anywhere? I think it's like a 3.25. Yes, 3.25 millimeter needle. The pattern calls for a US 4, but I didn't have any more US 4s. I'm using that on the Corgi Sweater. So I was like, I'll check the 3, and then I might have to go to a 5 if it's too small. But it actually worked out really great. And I think that it's a headband, so I can kind of work with it and figure out if I will need to make it a little longer or a little shorter or whatever. I can figure that out when I get there. So technically this one is not cast on yet, but by the end of the day it will be. So I am still calling it a whip. So the yarn again is 29 Bridges Studio Hoodoo You, and it should use up almost all of it. I might have like 20 grams left. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited to have a matching set and also to be able to use this beautiful yarn in another project. Yeah, I'm excited. And all of my needles are Chiaogu red lace. They're my favorite. They're all I use. So yeah, I'm excited for that one. So those are all of my works in progress. Acquisitions. So obviously I got my advents in December and I had technically 4 of them. I purchased 2, one from Blush Yarns, which you will have seen in my shawl, and then the second one was from Moonglow Yarn Co. I got the rainbow advent, which was beautiful, and you can see me open those throughout all of Vlogmas. I had so much fun opening them, and they're such beautiful colors. Had such a better advent opening year than I did last year. But I'm not going to get those out and show you right now because when I get the Moonglow out to use it in a project, I will show you all those beautiful colors. And I do plan to do that hopefully in the next couple of months. And then the other 2 advents I had, one was from summer that I'm using for my Scrappy Musselburgh, and then the other was for my sister Sabra. We did a 12-day advent swap, and I had so much fun opening those, and I have them all set aside together that I can use in a project, hopefully sometime in the future. So if you want to see all of those, you can watch through Vlogmas. They're just so pretty. I had so much fun opening them. But aside from that, I did have some other things come in. My birthday was also in December. It was Christmas Eve, and my sister and my friend Stephanie were so generous and sent me some yarny gifts, and I want to show those to you now. So the first one I got was from my friend Stephanie. It was a complete surprise when it showed up here, and I was so excited to open it. And this is by Hedgehog Fibers. Oh my gosh, it is such a pretty color. This is so pretty. Come on, focus, focus, focus. There we go. Isn't that pretty? It is called Lullaby, and it is their Tweety Lullaby, and it's just their tweed, and I love this so much. Thank you again to Stephanie for sending this to me. And Hedgehog Fiber, I think I've used one of their skeins before, but I'm excited to use this one. I don't know what I'm going to make with it, though. I need to decide, but it's really, really pretty. So that was one acquisition. And then the one that my sister Sabra sent me was, it's so funny, they're so similar. This is by Yoshi and Lucy, and it is called Dear Sister. Ooh, it is just a beautiful, I love it, and I love how these two, look at them. They're so close together. They both know me so well because I just love these both so much. So these two have to have a really special project. I don't know what yet, but they're going to go in my yarn stash until I find that perfect project for them. So thank you, Sabra. I love it. It's beautiful. And then let's see, what else did I get? Okay, so for the Blush Yarns Advent, it was the only one that came with a full skein. So I also wanted to show you the full skein that I got from that. And this is called Winter Forest. Natalie does the most beautiful colors, as you can tell from my shawl. They're stunning, and I absolutely love this one. I love the green. I wasn't expecting green, but it is so pretty. So that's another one going in my stash for something special. I have quite a few special Blush Yarns ones that I need to find a project for. And then I also got one more skein of yarn. So after Christmas, me and my mom and the kids went up to Longmont. I think it's Longmont. Yeah, Longmont, Colorado, and I stopped in a yarn store, and my daughter had been wanting a Musselburgh, so I was trying to find some yarn that would fit her, and I actually had 2 different skeins and was like, hey, which one do you like? And she picked this one, and I've been wanting to try this yarn brand for quite a while. I've heard a lot about them, and it is a Farmer's Daughter fiber. So this is the one that my daughter picked out, and this is going to soon be a Musselburgh. This is called, I think it's called Rough Customer, and yeah, this is the color name is Rough Customer, and then it's on their squishy fingering weight. So I'm really excited to give them a try. It looks really fluffy and plump, so that's exciting. I don't even know what, it's 100% superwash merino. So perfect for a Musselburgh. So that was the other skein that I got. I also got, Sabra also sent me the cutest little progress keeper. I think it's in here, but it's probably at the bottom because I want to use it on this project. But I can't find it at the, oh, here it is. Let me show you. She sent me this cutest little progress keeper. So it's a possum, and you can hear all about why she sent me a possum in Vlogmas. But yeah, I love that, and it's going to go on this project right here. And then she also sent me a t-shirt, and this isn't mine, but this is one that you can win, which I absolutely love. And it says, since we've no place to go, another row, another row, another row. I absolutely love mine. I would be wearing it right now, but it's dirty because I've already been wearing it. So wait until the life chat section and you'll find out how you can win this very one that I am holding. So we can be twinsies. And Sabra has one in a different color, so we'll all be twinsies. It'll be so fun. But that's all the acquisitions that I have. Not very much. I mean, opening 4 mini skeins almost daily was plenty of yarn for December. And I don't foresee there being a whole bunch in January either, which is perfectly fine. My stash is full of beautiful yarns that I need to use. Future makes. So I have some plans of things that I want to make. I've already mentioned one, which is the Musselburgh that I want to make for my daughter, and I'm going to be using this yarn. I will probably be winding this up in the next day or two and casting it on and getting it to the point where it's just round and round, so I can take it out when we're going to dinner, or running errands, or sitting in the drive-through line, or sitting down for 5 minutes, that type of knitting. So I want to get that ready and get it going. I'm going to be working on this sweater, and I want to get that done in the month of January. And then also I want to work on the Montrealer. I have the yarn for that for my son. I'm going to be making like the size 1 or 2 adult for him. He's kind of like in that in-between stage. He's 12. So he's like, not a kid, not an adult, in between there. So I figured I'd make it a little bigger, and then he's going to hit a growth spurt soon and he'll be able to wear it longer. I already have the yarn for that ready to go in a bag. So I might try to cast that on before we go on our road trip, but I'm not sure. It depends on how this sweater goes, because I don't want too many things on the needle at one time. So we'll see. It could happen, or it could be a later in January, February type thing. And then there's one other thing that I would really like to make, and it's the Blurry Cow by Joji Locatelli. It is beautiful, and I have decided I'm going to use the woolberry yarn that I purchased you will have seen it in December's podcast. I need to pick out one more skein to go with the 2 that I purchased, but I have plenty in stash that I can do that with. So I'd like to cast that on at some point. Maybe after, I don't know, maybe after the Felicity's Musselburgh is done. We'll see. But those are all the ones that I have planned for right now. And I think that is plenty, because 2 sweaters and a hat and a cowl and headband, it's plenty to fill my time. Life talk. So a lot's been going on. You've seen most of it through Vlogmas if you watched that. I had so much fun doing Vlogmas. It was just, it was really enjoyable, and knowing a little bit more of what to do and how to do it and kind of like that was, it was more fun this year than last year. So thank you to all of you who watched through those or are still watching through, because I know a lot of us get behind on Vlogmas. I certainly am. I'm on like day 19 of all of the Vlogmases that I am watching. But thank you for watching and supporting and all the comments and everything like that. I just appreciate it so much, and I am so excited to be edging ever closer to 1,000 subscribers, which is going to be a really big accomplishment. So thank you everyone for your support and for being here during this such a busy season. So I did a giveaway announced a giveaway in the last podcast, and that was for this beautiful skein of yarn and bag that my friend Natalie of Blush Yarns sent me. So it was this beautiful skein. Oh, it's so pretty. And then this was the bag that came with my Blush Yarns Advent, but it was one that I didn't think that I would get to use very much. I had just bought a bunch of bags from Cottontail Farms, and I was like, this one is just gonna sit there and it's not gonna get used. And look how perfect it matches. I mean, it just matches perfectly. So I announced that giveaway then, and I picked a winner. I did a random generator, and the person who won will be on the screen as well, but it is MD, and it's user SN90U1QY8D. So if you are MD, this user, please send me an email at gypsy.bird47@gmail.com with your shipping address, and I will get this shipped out to you. Her comment was so sweet of how she's been learning to knit, and how she learned a long time ago, and now she's coming back to it and made her first pair of socks this past summer. So I was so excited for you. Congratulations. This is such a pretty package. And you'll have until February 3rd to respond. And if I don't hear from you by then, I'll go ahead and pick another winner. But let's move on to this podcast's giveaway. And this is all thanks to my sister, Sabra. She purchased my shirt that I was talking about in the last segment, and she wasn't sure which size I was going to need, so she purchased two and sent them to me and said that the second one that I didn't fit in I could give away, which was so generous. So thank you, Sabra, for gifting this to the podcast. But this is going to be a size large in this beautiful shirt, and we will be twinsies because I have the exact color and everything, and I love it so much. It's so comfy. It is cotton, I'm pretty sure. Polyester cotton. It is just a dream. I love it. So this is a size large, and I will put on the screen what size chest that fits for you guys. So if you would like a chance of winning this gorgeous shirt, and also I'm going to throw in some mini skeins and a little bit of extras for you, comment down below what your biggest goal of 2023 is. I'd love to see what it is. It can be yarn related, it can be life related, just anything. Just have the phrase my 2023 goal, and that way I will know that you want a chance to win this shirt. So again, thank you, Sabra, for putting that into the pile of giveaways. So sweet. All right, let's see what else I have to chat about. So I've talked about Vlogmas a million times. You're probably tired of hearing it, but in Vlogmas we had a lot of fun. We went to the zoo, the aquarium, we went shopping. There was my birthday, there was Christmas, my mom was visiting, we did gifts, all that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to go into all of that again because it is all documented in Vlogmas. But there are some things that have happened since Vlogmas ended in the whole life spectrum. So we have gotten 7 inches of snow. That was about a week ago. And now we have gotten probably 3 or 4 more inches. And currently it is snowing outside. So it feels like winter is here in Colorado. But yeah, it's been a lot of snow and it's been cold, but we have been so grateful that we have stayed warm in the camper. It's staying around 69, 70, which is where we want it. It's just been great. So I'm really appreciative of that, even though we have had ice on the inside of the camper, which is kind of wild. But the walls are really thin, so it's to be expected. I have been catching up on sleep. During Vlogmas, I definitely missed out on sleep because I spent probably 2 to 3 hours a day editing each vlog. And that first night that I didn't have that to do, I was like, what do I do with myself? Like, it was like 1 o'clock and I'm like, I can go to bed. I can just go to bed. I don't have to do anything else. So that was nice. It's been nice to catch up on some sleep. I did get to visit the Longmont yarn shop up in Longmont, Colorado. Out of I think I've visited 3 or 4 yarn shops total in Colorado. That one is by far my favorite. It was in the cutest little downtown, and they had really pretty yarn. I almost came out with more than I should have, but I restrained myself and only got that one yarn. But it was really fun, and that is one that I would definitely want to visit again if we were going to be living here longer. It is about an hour away, so it would be a drive, but it was really nice and I enjoyed going there. If you weren't watching Vlogmas, then you will not know where we are moving next. So we found out, I think the first or second week of the December, that we are going to Seattle, Washington. So this contract that my husband has right now was just a 8-week contract. Normally they are 13 weeks for travel nurses. That's the typical length of a contract, and sometimes you can extend, and we had the opportunity to extend here, but there were some things with the hospital that were just kind of not to our liking, just some shadiness, so we decided that we would just go move on, and we started applying to places in Washington because we've always wanted to be in the Pacific Northwest, and they had really good rates, and we found somewhere really quickly that we could stay with the camper. So yeah, we are going. We will be leaving here on the 14th of January, and we're going to spend a few days in Salt Lake City, which we are really excited about. We have had 2 assignments in Salt Lake and just absolutely love it there. I think we've lived in that area for 15 months total, which is one of the longest places that we have ever lived. So we're really excited to spend a few days there, to go to the aquarium there, get some really good Japanese food, go to Waffle Love, all those fun things. So, and then we're going to travel on through Idaho and Oregon and up into Washington. So yeah, we would really appreciate prayers for some good travel, health, and no crazy snowstorms during that time. That would be excellent. We have to go through the Rockies to get to Utah. So yeah, we're just praying really hard that the weather is nice for those few days, because we really would like to go. There's other ways we can go if there's bad weather, but we would really love to go and spend some days in Salt Lake because we just love it there so much. I do plan to do 1 or 2 vlogs while we're traveling. It's just fun to document it for us that way, because then we can look back and be like, oh, look, we did this, or remember when we saw that, and that kind of thing. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. They'll be coming out closer to the end of the month after the next podcast. But let's see, what else did I say? I plan to film the second podcast of the month, which will be coming out on the 20th, God willing. I plan to film that while we're in Salt Lake because we're going to be traveling during that week that I would film the next podcast. So I'm going to do my very best, and I am planning to film while we are there in Salt Lake. So hopefully you will have that second podcast of the month on the 20th. Let's see. So I'm going to be doing some segments per podcast. I haven't decided what the segment on the 2nd of the month is going to be, but the one that airs on the 5th, I've decided is going to be a stash update. I have been so inspired by Natalie of Nitty Natty with her keeping track of all of her stash and updating each month that I kind of want to copy her. So, thanks, Natalie, for the idea. But I'm not going to do it exactly the same as her, but I am going to kind of tell you how many yarns I use per month and things like that. And I kind of got a head start for this month because I did a year in review video that dropped on January 1st. I'll link it here for you so you can go check that out if you want. It goes through me organizing my yarn, telling you how many skeins of yarn I have in my stash, and then also it tells you some of the plans that I have for this upcoming year and my goals and things like that. So you can check that out if you'd like. So I'm going to go ahead and start off the new year with a fresh slate and let you know of how many yarns I have in my stash. And that the way that I am saying yarns is 100 grams fully skeined, haven't unskeined them or haven't used them at all. So I do have a couple that are caked that I haven't used yet, but they are all unused, untouched, 100-gram hand-dyed yarns. So I'm not counting the knit picks that I have for the sweaters, like the Corgi one or the Montrealer right now, because I know I'm going to be using those up and they're not hand-dyed, if that makes sense. That's just how I'm planning to keep count of it. So I have a total of 55 100-gram skeins currently. I would like to end the year with less than I have, but it's not a necessary thing. I would just like to try to, before I buy a yarn for a project, look in my stash and see if I have something that I could use from that, because I have such pretty yarns up there. And they're just sitting there and I need to use them. They're really pretty. So I want to try to like reach for stash before purchasing. But that I'm still going to purchase things. So we'll just see how it goes. And just before this, I was actually playing around with Google Doc, and I found a way. It's also kind of like how Natalie was doing hers. She used a spreadsheet for her tracking of last year. And I'll share, I think I can share the link to it down below in case you guys want to use it as well. If you want to kind of use that format, I'll put that down below for you guys. But I'm going to try to keep track of, you know, how many grams I used per project, how many yards I used, what the project is, put the link in for that. And then on the flip side, I want to keep track of how many yarns came in, how many I used, how many I was gifted, or how many I gave away, and that type of thing. That way it'll be a lot easier at the end of the year when I do my year in review to just go on that spreadsheet and look. So I'm going to try to keep up with that. I'm really good at keeping up with Ravelry, so I think I'll be able to do that and kind of keep that momentum going, hopefully. So I will share that link down below for you guys. Let's see, do I have anything else to share with you guys? I think that is pretty much it almost. I think so. I did want to kind of share some things that I was watching in December. I really like when other people share what they're watching because it kind of gives you an idea of new things to watch, because I'm always looking for something new to watch. So some things that I watched in December. Mostly, I literally watched Vlogmas. I would sit there and I'd watch it with Brian and he would play his video games, and I did really good with keeping up with it until about day 17. And that's when my mom came into town, and then we started watching Christmas movies, and yeah, we watched a ton of Christmas movies and some other random stuff. But other than that, since Christmas has ended and since, you know, Vlogmas has ended and stuff like that, Brian and I have mostly been watching Oak Island, The Curse of Oak Island. We're still watching that. We still love it. I don't know what it is about that show, but it is just so entertaining. I really look forward to it each week. We've also been watching Dirty Jobs. I used to, when Brian and I first got married 16 years ago, I thought that Micro was like a dirty old man, and I did not like him at all. And now I think he's hilarious. So, my, have we changed? But we've really been enjoying watching those shows. A lot of them have been in North Carolina, to places around where we've been, so that's also been interesting. We last night caught up on Willow, which is on Disney Plus. It's been so good. I've really, really been enjoying it. It's really kind of quirky and cheesy at parts. And sometimes I just want to rip some people's throats out, maybe not their throats, but like they're just really irritating. Kit. um but it's been really good, and I'm really enjoying it. We only have 2 more episodes left, and now we're all caught up, so that's not fun. Now we have to wait. And one other thing I wanted to mention is we watched The Witcher Origins. Not as good as The Witcher, but it was interesting to watch and kind of to see how The Witchers came about and stuff like that. So that was really interesting, and we just finished that last night. So it was a good watch. I know that there's a few things coming out this month that I'm excited to watch. I'm excited to see Ginny and Georgia season 2. It's been forever. The dog's lying down. It's been forever since the first season came out. And also The Last of Us, I think. The Last of Us. I think that's what it is. It's a video game that my husband has played for years. And it has... I'm not going to think of his name, but he is the Mandalorian. He's Mando on the Mandalorian. And then the little girl, she's not really little. She's probably like, she could be an adult. I'm not sure. But she's been in a lot of British period dramas that I have watched, and I'm excited to watch that with Brian and see how it is. I think it's on HBO Max. But that's coming out soon, so I'm excited to watch that as well. So that should be everything. Wrapping it all up. So thank you guys so much for watching today, for tuning in, for your support. I wish you the best, happiest, yarn-filled 2023, and I will see you next time in a different state. So talk to you then. Bye.
In your heart I'm left behind, like a shadow